Good evening. Welcome to the January edition of this meeting of Lamp and Light. It is nice to hear, and we are grateful that you are able to join us from wherever it is that you are joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We do have, as promised, a special guest for tonight. He will join us shortly, but the conversation remains the same as promised, and we shall be looking at purpose, yours in God's. And essentially, it's what is it that we are about? Why are we on the face of the planet? And what should we be doing now that we are on the face of the planet? That's what purpose is, essentially. The why behind whatever it is that we do on the face of the earth. Permit me to share two scriptures, and I will just read, and then we'll go. First off is in John, the Gospel according to John, chapter 17, and I will read verse 4. So John 17 and 4. I like that the Common English Bible puts it. It says, I have glorified you on earth by finishing the work you gave me to do. I have glorified you on earth by finishing the work you gave me to do. And that is in John chapter 17 and verse 4. I'll read the second scripture, and then we can just dive right into this conversation. Colossians chapter 4 and verse 17. Interesting. That's a reversal of number and chapter and verse. And tell Archippus, see to it that you complete the ministry you have received in the Lord. The NCV puts it this way: tell Archippus, be sure to finish the work the Lord gave you. So here is the thing: every one of us, there is something that God has put inside of us that we're supposed to do. There is some reason we are born. Jesus, when he was done with his work on earth, made a very profound statement. He said, for this cause was the Son of Man made manifest. So for all of us, there is a cause why we were made manifest. There is a reason why we exist. There is a cause to be, if you will put it that way. So there's something for which God sent us here, and all of us are supposed to provide a solution to something. We're supposed to be the answer to a question, supposed to be the one who solves the riddle that has, as it were, beleaguered other persons. We are meant to be the answer to the question that is facing somebody somewhere on the face of the earth, some group somewhere on the face of the earth. But you can't provide that answer if you have not first and foremost uncovered what your purpose is. It is in knowing your purpose that you are then able to become all that you were meant and are meant to be. Now, back to the place where we read, you find out that Jesus said, I have given you glory. And he was referring to his Father. He said, I've given you glory. How? By finishing the work that you gave me to do. In essence, the task you assigned to me, my purpose for coming on earth, I have completed. It is in the place of completing purpose and finishing your task and assignment, that is where you then begin to give God glory. And to buttress it, then says Paul was writing to the church in Colossae, and he said, tell Archippus that he would finish the work God gave him. The theme of our conversation is essentially that your purpose is found in God's purpose. God didn't leave us in doubt as to what his purpose was when he created man. From the beginning, the idea was that man would have dominion. And I'm sorry for those who think we're a product of chance and evolution and all of that. It's beautiful. Those are your thoughts. But I'm a firm believer in that God made me and that there is a reason he made me. It wasn't like he didn't have anything better to do and he decided to create man. Okay. So he created us and he made us so that we can fulfill a purpose on the face of the earth. And in order to fulfill our own purpose, we need to first and foremost be clear what his purpose was when he was making man. And as I was saying in Genesis, he said straight, I mean, very straight, in a very straightforward manner, that men should have dominion, should multiply, replenish, and fill the earth and subdue it and dominate all of the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky and all the animals that scurry on the face of the ground. And that is what God called us to. And that is what God asked us to be. Nothing different, nothing less than that. So if that is the purpose of God for us, that we should have dominion, it then means that dominion, if we are not fulfilling his purpose, we cannot in honesty claim that we are doing what he's asked of us to do. And that is why we have this conversation tonight, so that you would understand that in doing your bit of the big picture that God has, you would then be able to do all of the things that he wants for you to do. So how does this work? First is understand that there is a purpose that God has, and that it was in that purpose that he made the things that he made on the face of the earth. It is in that you were created. It is in that you have the unique gifts that you have and the abilities that you have, the capacity that you display wherever you find yourself. All of that is inside of the gifts that God gave you. Those gifts are meant to serve the reason for which he made you. Have you noticed that each of us is able to do something well that other persons that we know are not able to do well? That each of us has a unique ability to pull off stuff that other people have struggles with. All of that ties into the reason you're on the face of the planet and the purpose for which God made you. Now, I said a while ago that God's purpose for your life is that you will fulfill the mandate which he announced at the very start in Genesis 1. For you to replenish the earth, for you to fill the earth, for you to multiply and to subdue the earth and to have dominion. All of which are elements that are then thrown to us as people to work out on a daily basis while we have breath around the face of the planet. Whilst you are here, you ought to find expression, and these elements of that mandate from the beginning ought to find manifestation in your life, and that's what your purpose. That's without it, there is not much that you can do as a person. So just to take a minute to acknowledge all the people who are online, who are joining in, and we appreciate having you here. In a short while, as I mentioned earlier, we'll just have our guests, and then we will be able to bring him up to share as God has laid in his heart. But back to what I was saying is that your abilities, your capabilities, your gifts, your talents, all of those things that make you you, even when you think there is nothing special about you, when you do a deep dive, you realize that everything that you have, everything that you know, everything you've experienced up until this point is a part of what would help you to express fully the purpose of God for your life. And as I mentioned, your purpose, if it does not align with God's for your life, it would just be a man who is trying to find out by trial and error what work a gadget or a device that he procured is meant to do, which would be an aberration, and it's the reason some of us end up spoiling our devices and our gadgets, because when the manufacturer made it, there was a manual that was attached to what it is that you bought. That manual is what is supposed to show you the original intent of the maker. So, question that all of us must answer if we desire to fulfill the purpose is, what is the original intent of God who made us? When you discover that original intent of God, then you are able to begin to walk in it. So first off is where you understand God's purpose for your life. And I've said that whatever that purpose is will not be outside of the original mandates that God gave to man in Genesis chapter 1. It will just be expressed in different ways, in different dimensions, and in different formats. But it will be within that context. So when you look for it, you will find it in there. Okay. So when you then sit back with God, as I mentioned, you have to go back to the manual that the creator and the producer of anything attached to it for you to understand. And so go back to the manual, and I'm glad to say that we have Pastor K here. In a minute, I will just yield to him so that he will go ahead and share. But when you consult the manual and consult the maker, you get a clear picture of what it is that he said about you and why he made you. And then in understanding that purpose, you can then begin to find yourself and fulfill it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am glad